Right, Mike.
Yes, finally.
What we wanted to do, a little bit about this really, we decided we want to do something called PowerMax Mindset. Kind of got talking with the guys behind the camera, and the part that I've enjoyed most about my journey through motorsport is the people I meet and the background and how they've got to where they've got, and you know what it takes to actually get out of bed in the morning and be a bit different to everyone else and kind of go that extra bit further to go out and race or to win or to whatever it may be. So I thought it was a great opportunity with you now joining the team to have a bit of a chat with you and understand a bit more about your background, where you've come from, how you've got into BTCC.
Yeah.
You know, it's a relatively short journey you've been on, really.
Yeah, I mean, my story is just, it's like a fairy tale, really. I mean, obviously, you know, meeting you guys over the last couple of years and to where we are at now, signing for you for when I look back at 2016 racing in the Henry Surtees Foundation is where it started for me, just at Buckmore Park. And
so that's that's very much almost like a pay-as-you-go kind of karts,
yeah,
isn't it?
A hire kart
you know,
championship,
it's a hire kart championship.
Yeah.
So
and
you just went down and kind of just paid your money and decided
yeah.
to be a part of a championship.
Yeah, and I didn't realise the race I entered was there's a thing called Saudi World Series.
Yes, yeah.
And the Saudi karts are based all around, you know, Dubai and America and Italy and everywhere else. And Buckmore Park had the Saudi karts. They were one of the first. And whoever does the championships in that time automatically entered into the British Hire Kart Championship, which I didn't even know existed. And I turned up at a race meeting and I'd done the race and I won the race, and then I looked on the internet at the review, because there was a guy there who used to write good reviews, and I used to think, oh, did I get a mention? Did I get a mention? And that was, you know, like I say, 2016. And then when I won that championship.
And how old were you then?
What am I, 38 now, so 33, 34.
So I mean, that's quite late to even start into motorsport.
Yeah.
With, you know, a lot of kids are starting in karting, admittedly, but they're starting when they're 6, 7, 8 years of age, aren't they?
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
you know, were you literally just going down there for a laugh? You know, was it kind of have a beer afterwards and a burger and job done?
I've always liked racing. I've always watched it on the telly and played the computer games, and I just thought, oh, do you know what? This is quite. I'd love to have a go at go-karting, and you know, it was a big thing in my family when I was younger and stuff like that. So I just done it, and then when I realised I'd won this race, and then I went on to win the championship. It was 8 rounds or 6 or 8 rounds or whatever, and I won all of every race. And then I automatically won the British Championship. I was the England champion of the Saudi World Series, even though there was only like Wilton Mill or somewhere else, Rye House, done this Saudi series, but I won it. And so then we got the opportunity to, and I started getting into a bit of endurance racing then. And then we entered as an endurance team in the world finals, and I had Piers Pryor, who raced F4 last year for Carlin and stuff like that. So he was just trying to get onto the scene as well, and I joined their little team, and so we all went off to Le Mans and raced like a 12-hour endurance race, and I was quickest. Piers is obviously like, there's nothing of him, he's about 50 kilo or whatever, and I was 80 kilo, but when out there everyone weights up the same and the karts are the same and everything. And I remember going out in practice and I was the quickest, so they put me in for qualifying, and I qualified P1 in the first Q1, and then I qualified P3, but it was the highest a Brit had ever qualified, so I was like, you know, carrying the flag. And then
why were you so quick?
I don't know. I just got in behind the Italians and just followed them, and you know, karting and stuff. And then we came back from there, and then I had a phone call, and it was Leonora Surtees, John's daughter, and they said, "Oh, look, would you like to race in the Henry Surtees Foundation?" And I was actually at Brands Hatch with my dad, watching that race when he died. Yeah. And I was there at Brands watching the touring cars and stuff, and. That was when the tragic accident happened, and I thought, do you know what? And they said, oh, like, look, it's a real prestigious event, and I'd seen it because I think Jake Hughes, who races in GP2 or F2, whatever it's called now, he won it the year before, I think, and I see the prestigious Blue H trophy, and I was thinking, oh, I'd love to do that. And it's at Buckmore, because it was at Docklands, it was at somewhere else, do you know what I mean? But it's at Buckmore Park, and I thought, I've got to do it, because this is where. And so I entered it, qualified 21st out of 25 or something, never been last at Buckmore Park, so it was a bit of a. And I sat in my van at like lunchtime, and I was like, I said to my nan upstairs, I was like, oh, come on, nan, help me out here. And then we had a 15-minute race in a Club 100 kart, which are good fun, good karts. And I ended up coming through and winning the race. And I got fastest lap. I won the heavyweights, and I came away with 3 Henry Surtees trophies.
I mean, were you going karting all of the time to practice, or was it you kind of rocking up to a championship?
I never had a kart.
Right.
I just turn up and pay to go on it, like, you know, 100 quid or whatever, 125 quid it was. And then John, I couldn't believe it. John Surtees was there. Steve Ryder was there from ITV. He was interviewing me and stuff, and I was just like, what? And I pretty much celebrated like I did my first round of touring car, like I won the championship. And from that moment, my wife said to me, just don't stop, like, go on your own, don't get out of the endurance stuff, go on your own, just don't stop until you get to the peak. And
what point did you start thinking about British touring cars?
Oh,
when did you? Yeah, but you've always watched it. When did you think? Well, let's try and race in the British Touring Car Championship.
I didn't think that was a thing until I got in the car. That we all sat down around this table at that event, and John Surtees said to me, "We've got 8 prizes for the 8 winners, no particular order, but you get the first prize." And I was sitting around the table with Jack Aitken, who's Williams Formula 1 driver, Ross Gunn, factory Aston Martin. All these guys are like 16, 17 then, and they're all Formula 1. So I said, do you know what? I said, you pick your prizes first, and I'll have whatever's left. And John said to me, do you know what? That's the most unselfish thing I've ever heard of. And he gave me a Puma race kit, he gave me a crash helmet. I ended up with a 3-hour tour at Red Bull factory with David Coulthard and his engineer, and and have the experience. And then when they put me into, John said, I'm going to help you with your career and stuff. And we got talking to a guy called Ben Highland, because I'd done the Want to Race competition. Yep. And I made it to the final, but I never won it. Right. And Ben said,
so that was in a Ginetta, yeah?
Yeah, so that was in a Ginetta, like G40. And Ben said, like, I can do you a discount price here, because what you won the Henry Surtees. And then I went down, and I was working, and I needed to find 30 grand. This was on a Tuesday, and I needed to find 30 grand by the Saturday, because otherwise the seat would have gone. And I couldn't afford to do it, obviously, myself. And I had a rep in my office called Paul Whitnell, who's my manager now, and he said, I'll ring my boss, Vince Caldecott. He's got a big plumbing and heating company. He loves his cars, and so I phoned him up, and he said, yeah, I'm interested. Can you come down to Brighton? I said, well, it's 5 o'clock and I'm 2 hours away. I said, I'll meet you there at 8 in the morning. So I drove down, and yeah, he loved it. He loved the fact that I won the Henry Surtees the week before, and he had a good feeling about me, and he's a big Christian, and he was like, do you know what, I've got a good feeling about you, and took the punt, give me the 30 grand. He said, there's the 30 grand, but I want to buy the car as well. So he bought the little G40 that we've still got today. Cool. I went testing with Tom Oliphant, was my driver coach, and I'd like to add that I beat him in testing, and he couldn't beat my lap time. So this is the first time I got in a race car in Spain. And then I went on and won the championship in 2017, and it wasn't until the end of 17 I realised, hold on a minute, when people were talking about racing Supercup on the Toka touring car, and you're being part of the ITV package on telly, I thought, hold on a minute, yeah, touring car is where I'd love to be. And then I didn't think too much of it. I got my head down, because obviously I was stepping up from a G40 to a GT4. And at the time they had the GT5 Challenge, which I should have probably gone, but we chose GT4 Supercup, and then turned up at Brands Hatch, won all 3 races, went on to win the championship in 18. And then the sponsors said, well, they loved being there in touring car and seeing the touring cars and watching me at the same time, and they just said, we want to do that. So I got the phone call for Tony Gilliam, and he gave me the opportunity to get in a touring car, and then the rest is history.
And then obviously you've even been and raced at Monaco in a Porsche. I mean, God,
that was.
I just can't imagine. You know, I've had some surreal experiences in my life, but they're ones like when Calvin raced for us. We went to a party and I walked in and there's all the cast from Emmerdale there, and it was like I'd walked into the telly. And it was like, well, hold on a minute, am I sat in my lounge watching the TV, or is this real? It was a bit weird, but you know, to go massively further, to go and race in Monaco in a Porsche must I mean, you know,
that was
the first time you drove through the tunnels must
man, you come out the other side. All I can explain Monaco to people is everywhere you go it's racing into a dead end. You can't actually see a corner until you actually get there. So the thing for me obviously I had to get there, I had to take it in, but I was a bit nervous because I'd never driven a Porsche before, let alone a rear-wheel drive, rear engine on a street circuit I've never been to. And I was the only person on that grid with no Porsche experience.
And I presume, like most racing on circuits in the UK, open circuits, when you're entering a corner, you're almost already looking at the next corner, aren't you? You're looking one corner ahead. This one, you can't even see the corner you're entering, let alone the next corner.
No, but I think because I had that nervous energy, I sort of took everything in a bit more, and I listened to whatever people. And Tim Harvey gave me some good advice before I went, and I was just sort of like, okay, let's just go there and take it for the experience that it was, and you know, I drove my heart out, and I'd done a really good job until obviously the crash. I was leading the amateur class with people like Roar Lindeland and Michelin. They're like German champions, French champions of Porsche. They've been racing Porsche forever and a day, and that's their 7th, 8th, 9th season in Supercup racing Monaco.
What makes you? What do you think gives you that ability to get in a car and drive quite quickly? You know, it's you know, you haven't got years and years of experience. Do you have a good feel for the car? Do you feel that you can kind of feel the I don't know, the tyres connected to the road, or what is it? I mean, you're not driving through. You can't be driving through experience and data because you haven't got that history.
Do you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head. Because I haven't got the experience, that's why I think I could get in a rear-wheel drive Porsche, 500 horsepower, whatever, and drive it, because I've got I haven't got a history of, like a Jason Plato history of how many million cars I've driven before and what to expect. I'm getting in it and going, this is what it does.
But therefore you're just doing what you feel is the
correct.
So so how are you picking the lines? What preparation do you do? Do you do stuff on the sim? Do you watch a lot of videos before you go, or do you literally just get in the car and drive it?
I mean, I just got in. I mean, we touched on it earlier before this, and at Thruxton, I turned up at Thruxton, and Pat, is it the guy who owns it?
Yeah, Pat Blake.
He went to me, you've never been here before? And I said, no, I've never been here before. He went, and you're turning up here racing a British touring car around my track, and you've never done a lap here? I said, no, never. He said, good luck. And I got in the car and I went out, and I'd done a good job, what I thought was a good job in the Passat, and then I come back there a year later, listened to Josh Cook, and he found 3 seconds in me, and just by educating where the car should be, how it should be driven, and he just told me, and I went out and done it. And that was the thing with Tom Oliphant. He said to me in 17 and 18, do this, this and this, and I used to just go, okay, and do it, and then I won. And it was just, I think my key talent is, you tell me to do it and I'll do it, but if it don't work, then I can say, well, hold on, that's what you told me to do.
Yeah. So it's trust. But your trust, you know, I mean, if I tell you how to take a line, don't pay any attention to me whatsoever. But obviously, when you're talking to people like Tom Oliphant, who's got the history he's got in the cars that he's raced, and you're talking to, you know, you're going and racing with Team Parker at Monaco, when these guys are giving you information, you trust the information they're giving to you.
Yeah, I mean, like Harry King. I mean, I couldn't have had a better a better partner. And but like Oliphant, me and him are completely different people from different ends of the world, different spectrums, but I had to trust him because he was my coach. And like Josh Cook, I had to trust him. He could have been telling me a pack of lies. And sometimes you get that now in racing, which I wasn't even aware of. But I don't know what it is. I've got that desire to win. I've got that desire to get better. I want to learn. I'm 38, so I'm probably a bit different to a 16-year-old coming in, because I'm a bit more mature. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Not saying nothing against him, but maybe a 16-year-old might be thinking, I'm the best in the world, I should be doing the best job in the world or whatever, where I know if I'm not doing something quite right, I can go away and learn and go, hold on, look at it from a different mentality, maybe being a bit older.
But you've also got that life away from racing as well. You know,
Yeah,
racing
sure.
isn't everything to you. You know, you've got family, you've got business. You know, you've got things away from motorsport. I'm not saying that you're not committed to motorsport or not trying to win, but I think in some ways that makes it easier to focus on the enjoyment from motorsport and not exclusively about the win.
Yeah.
Maybe that helps take the pressure off a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got harder because like you know, being at the pinnacle of British motorsport, there's a lot of politics, and I've had to now start learning that. And maybe when I come in and I start going, oh, he's going here or he's going here, or I thought it was all a big game, but it's actually like really serious about that sort of stuff. And I'm sort of learning that side of things. And you know, I just came in and enjoyed it, but I definitely think it gets tougher now because I'm racing the likes of Sutton, Colin Turkington,
Jason Plato.
you know, Jason Plato, all these guys that are, you know, proper good drivers, and but I feel like I'm
holding your own.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I'm scared of anyone. And now I've been away driving Supercup against Dylan Pereira and Guven, and you know, all these factory drivers. That's their life. That's their living. That's their. And I just think I'm coming back. I'm in such a good place here at Powermax with the Vauxhall. We've been talking for many years, and it's finally done. And I'm just ready to see what we can.
Where's that desire to win come from? You know, it burns inside you. Some people aren't that bothered about it. You know, is that something? You know, you grew up with four brothers. There was five of you.
Yeah,
wasn't there?
five of us. So,
you know,
were you
competitive?
Were you,
top, you know, did you all, you know, play football together and you all wanted to win? Were you competitive? You know, was some of that competitive nature kind of come from being a family of five boys? Where,
yeah,
you know,
I think so. I mean, everything I've always gone to do, I've always wanted to be the best at. So I played football when I was younger, and I wasn't particularly good. But then I thought, actually, I can get better here. And then I started playing for Margate, and then I got an appearance in the Conference League, which I sort of like just worked hard at it and then became good. And then, you know, like I was playing with a guy called Leroy Leto, who then got sold off to Reading and played for England and scored against Man United, and you know, and he was playing up front with me and stuff. So everywhere. And then I've sort of left that. I went and played golf. I become a professional caddy. I went from a handicap of 28 to 6, and I just found myself like doing all of this sort of stuff. And I went caddying for 2-3 years, and with a professional called Max Brackley. He's the longest hitter on the tour, and you know, I've got so many stories about my life of what I've done and how I've started off maybe not the best, but always got
so
the
it's
best.
Work rate, it's effort, it's desire.
But I don't know. You asking me how? I don't
All
know.
I'm thinking here is, God, you must be a really annoying friend to have. Like, right, so we go and play football. You're beating us at football, right? We go and do cricket. You're beating us at cricket. We go karting. Yep, you're beating us at karting.
Yeah.
You know, like Jesus Christ, is there anything that you can't do? It must be hard work being Michael Crees'
enjoy
friend.
it. I enjoy it. That's the thing. I enjoy spending time with my friends. That's the key thing for me. My family's like Jodie and Hugo and Bonnie are just, you know, that's my drive now. And you know, and to be on the TV and like race cars is like
dream.
Yeah, like you said earlier. Even if you have a really bad day doing that, it's still better than most days.
Most day at work
that you've ever had.
Yeah,
so.
Totally.
And I never dreamt that I would ever be sitting here talking to you like this, and you know, and
people are interested in your story, your background. But you know, that for me, that I love that. You know, the people that I've met over the years. You know, Collard coming to the team, getting to know Jason Plato, meeting people like John McGuinness, and you know, all these sorts of famous people. You know, the stories are fantastic. The backstory that actually drives people to get on the grid, to do well, and I just think that's. Those are kind of stories that people don't realise. That, you know, I bet you in your life there's so many people say, "Oh, you're so lucky, Mike, that you get to do this." You know, how much effort? I mean, I know that obviously initially it was just paying your £100 to go karting, and you've done well. But how much effort do you have to put in to get on the grid in BTCC in terms of bringing partners to the table, getting the sponsorship money, helping the team raise the budget? I mean, it's a tough gig.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, but you know, and if I'm honest, this is the first time I've been at a team where you've believed in me and you've brought this great brand, and you're helping me this year and get on the grid and show my worth, and that's where I want to repay that back to you by, you know, good results, being on and off track, and putting I've always said to people, you've got to put yourself in the shop window. I mean, there's some drivers out there that tend to think, I don't need to do any of that,
yeah, a bit
and they manage to get their way in, but I literally work more time on this, bringing partners in, looking after brands, than I do doing my actual day job, and it's finally paying off now, and it's, you know, and all the work that I've done with the fans and the marshals and the media, you know, it's proven that, you know, when maybe I was thinking I was out of a drive, and you come in and say, look, you know, and you've got a bit of belief in someone like myself, and I feel like that's now I'm in your debt, so I feel like I go out there and I owe it to the team and all the people that I've met today. Is you know, you see how hard they're all working, and you know, it's great to be a driver, and it's great to be part of that side of it, and eventually when I do come to hang up my gloves, I want to be still involved in some way, shape or form, because it's just the buzz you get out of it.
And as a team owner and as a team principal, you know, that's what I want to see from my drivers. You know, you've had a relatively short journey, a very successful one. That, you know, that meeting you and talking to you, and, you know, we've talked for a few years now. You know, I just think that you can with that kind of work rate and kind of the desire to win, that's definitely something we can work with. You know, as a team, I know we can provide you with a fantastic car and a fantastic team around you, and ultimately with that kind of desire and the character that you bring to the team, I just, you know, I can't see how it can fail. You know, I'm really excited to have you in the garage, and I think, you know, things are going to go wrong and it's going to be painful, but, you know, you'd definitely rather have somebody along with you that, you know, you're going to be fighting together and, you know, digging in the same direction to get you out of that, you know.
Yeah, so. And I appreciate that, and the thing is that, like, PowerMax got such a big fan following as well, and I've seen on social media, obviously no one knows that we're here at the minute talking like this, but you know, and such a support for the team, and I just think, you know, with a lot of the fans following me as well, we're going to be a good place to be, and a good accessible team to be at, because when I was sitting on the banks watching touring car, that's all I wanted to be. I wanted to meet the drivers, or, you know, see the car, or and that's what I sort of portray. And I go out to the campsites on a Friday and I say hello to all the fans, and, you know,
but genuinely, you're doing that because you actually enjoy that. You know, that's not something that you're like, I've got a list of things I've got to do.
No.
I'm going to go and do it. But that's why, in my opinion, people have warmed to you so quickly. Yeah. Because you're not doing it as a marketing exercise. You are very happy to go and have a chat, have a banter, and enjoy being around the fans.
But like you know,
you see yourself as one of them, don't you? Rather than a driver. You know?
I do. Yeah. And that's probably, I don't know, I just got no expectation of myself, and I just get in the car and I pinch myself every time I'm on it, and I just think, how have I managed to do this? And it is a dream. It was a dream of mine, that to even be doing this sort of stuff. And I just think I'm only getting better. All these guys I'm racing at are at their pinnacle and they're at their level, and I'm only getting better, and I'm not a million miles off of them at the minute.
So the future's exciting.
Yeah, and I think I honestly do, sitting here now, I think, you know, with the right preparation, the right experience, in a couple of years' time, I will be fighting for that British Touring Car Championship, and I will win it. And I, every year I've set a goal. 17, I wanted to win the championship. 18, I wanted to win the championship. 19, I wanted to be top rookie in British Touring Car. Beat Daniel Robon, beat Mark Blundell, beat all of these guys who have been racing for millions of years. Yeah. And then 2020, I said, well, I'm going to go and win the Jack Sears. I won the Jack Sears. 2021 was independence, but unfortunately, we all know what happened with 21. It was COVID, and I went out to Monaco thinking I want to be in the top 3 of the amateurs, and I went and qualified second. So all these goals, and this year my goals are to get podium. You know, I'd love a win. I'm probably, you know, I'm going to set myself on a podium.
We'll have that.
But if it comes, then, you know, I'll take it, and that's my goal. And then, you know, the long term here is to win the independence, win the team's independence trophy, and then go on and win the championship, and that's where I want to be.
Sounds good to me. I mean, that for us as a team, you know, I think being in touring cars is tough. It is a tough gig. Raising the funds, getting the right drivers on board. It is hard work. But unfortunately, I set myself a goal, and that goal was for us to win the championship. So it means I can never ever consider walking away from the championship until that's done.
I can't wait to put you in retirement.
Yeah, exactly. Please retire me. I just people. Oh, you've won races. You've achieved. You've done well in the championship. But for me, that's not what I set out to do. We set out to win the championship. So it's important that I'm working with drivers that can actually help us on that journey. The dream is to find drivers that we can work with for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and it's tough to do because sponsors change, budgets change, and you have to make other arrangements, and nothing would give me more pleasure to work with you for that 3 or 4 years to get you fighting for that championship.
That's what I mean. I'm here. I mean, Martin's a great guy, and we've had a good chat, and I think we're all like you say, we're all pulling in the same way. And I think it's time that we go out there and show them that what we can do.
Sounds good to me.
See what happens.